Medical malpractice cases are the most difficult pieces of litigation, I would say, in New York State, or one of the most difficult. We don't do a lot of complicated contractual issues either. But from a personal injury perspective, medical malpractice cases are difficult because typically the doctors and or the hospital or the institution controls the evidence. They control the medical record. They dictate what happens, whether or not that's exactly what happened, or whether they think that's what happened, or whether that's what the patient thinks what happened. It all is dependent on what the records say, and the records are not controlled, certainly by us and certainly not by the patient. And in the era of electronic medical records, it is not unusual to have records disappear, which is very disheartening and happens certainly with paper records as well, but it's becoming more frequent with the electronic medical records. So to have a medical malpractice case, you need to have what is called a deviation from good and accepted practice, and that you have injuries as a result of it. It sounds easy, but it is not, and it's complicated. You can have a mistake made by a doctor, a nurse, a physician, a hospital that doesn't actually cause the injury that you have or an injury, and then it does not become either a successful or an easy to prosecute case. There's also a whole area in medicine called a judgment rule that most good defense attorneys are very aware of and utilize extremely well to their advantage, that if a doctor has a choice between 3 ways to treat a condition and they pick A, B, or C, and they picked C and C was not successful, they're not considered to have deviated or made a mistake, is a term, the deviation from good and accepted practice. So without a deviation from good and accepted practice, or a mistake, as you would use layman's term, you won't have a case, no matter how terrible a result you might have. Because oftentimes when you have a complicated medical condition, doctors oftentimes go in and do the best they can, and they can't guarantee that it's going to be perfect. What makes a good malpractice case is a clear deviation from good and accepted practice, injuries or damages that result from that deviation from whatever was done wrong. And an attorney such as ourselves or a few others in the area that do these types of cases that can prosecute it and bring it to court.